We made another race yesterday, Richard. Both of us was there for a change, you know.
But I thought the way the race all wound up, it was going to be longer than the 600.
Well, it was, wasn't it?
Had a couple of red flags and rain, and had the
lightning. No
deal.
rain, lightning.
Okay,
yeah,
lightning deal. If the whole race had run like a usual race, it would have been a completely different race.
Exactly.
The way it was, they had to stop, and then what happened was that these cars was running, and they'd get the brakes hot, and then when they cooled off, and then they'd get hot again, they kept breaking rotors. So I think they said there was six cars that had
or
trouble,
seven that had rotor. But I believe they'd have still had the same winner, Richard. I
understand that, but I think it was according to how they pitted the cars, even though they changed gears, 3 times a lap or some kind of deal. The deal is the cars are so even, you can't pass anybody.
You say they changed gears 3 times. When you started racing, they didn't have but 3 gears.
Yeah,
but that was a long time ago.
Back then you didn't have, you just hold on the steering wheel, and you couldn't take your hand off the steering wheel to change gears if you wanted to.
But
it wound up being that the top 3 or 4, the 5 sort of slipped up there. He was back in the pack. And one time he didn't change tires or just got 2 tires and got up front. The other 3 cars, the 11, the 12, and the 8 car, they ran up front all day, so they deserved to be there.
They slipped him up there with a 2-tire change, and he made it work. And some other people tried it. Of course, the 34, Richard, now he
stayed in there real good,
and
too.
Finished 9th, and that's, no disrespect to nobody, but that's a good finish for that team.
That was good strategy from their standpoint, because they knew they couldn't run up front. But if you got up front, then it was hard to pass no matter what. So.
But, I think me and you both have brought it up quite a bit of time that so much happens on pit road that dictates the races anymore. And in defense of the 43 car, they were just getting settled down where they was pretty good, and then they have the accident in the pits, and I really still don't know what happened. Of course, they say the boy's okay, so that's the big thing. But
that put him all the way to the back. He had to work his way back up again.
Exactly.
So you don't know if he'd been, because he was running like 18th or 17th or somewhere.
I think we got up to about 14th, about then.
And then he had to go all the way to the back
again.
So,
and that's where he started.
So and we wasn't the only ones. Everybody was like that.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a deal that I'm still going back. It would have been a different race because people would have had different strategies, having to stop under green and stuff like that. The way it was, nobody had to stop under green.
There's been some talk between me and you about the price of this race car, and those rotors, they're expensive, and I guess it's the first time that we've seen them have that much trouble. I guess there's been occasion where 1 or 2 of them would have trouble somewhere, say a Martinsville or something, and it didn't make much. But that was the big
the circumstances, the way the race was run, stopping, and having out that many caution flags and stuff. That really changed the complexity of the whole race. Because if those guys, like I said, the 5 car got up there because of pit stops, maybe somebody else would have got up there, or maybe some of the guys that was running up front and made a pit stop and got in the back. So it's really hard to say.
They had a big crowd, and it was.
They done a first-class job at the racetrack. It was unreal how they took care of the fans, took care of the crews and all that stuff. So
concerts for the fans. I guess there's somebody making music everywhere you went. You went several places, and I went with you on a golf cart. But there's just people had a motorcycle show out there on the drag strip that held us up getting to some of the places you were supposed to be. But
it was really a typical race. The 8 car was the quickest car.
Yeah.
Okay. The 12 car could challenge him, but then on a couple of them pit stops or caution flags, the 12 got behind and had to work his way back up. He could race with the 8 car, but the 8 car was the best car.
But the 8 car got caught back in there too, Richard. But he is able to go to the front, so that makes him the best car.
I think he was the best. He was the best yesterday.
Yeah.
And in the 5 car, he ran back in the back with us all day long until he made that one decision to stay out there.
But another thing that helped him, Richard, they had 3 or 4 laps, then a caution,
Right.
3 or 4 laps,
And
then a caution, and that made his strategy even better.
That made his tires last longer. Like
Exactly,
that.
exactly.
Anyhow, it was
So
basically when they had good tires, they could run side by side. You mean for the first 2 cars would run side by side for 3 or 4 laps, and then the inside side finally overcome him most of the
But
time.
you know, you brought up about Charlotte. They could run all over the racetrack in different grooves and put their nose in fresh air and stuff. They couldn't do that yesterday. It was once 4 or 5 laps on the tires. Even though they didn't give up, they got in line. That's kind of where they run.
It's going to be completely different this coming week. We go to the road course, so you're going to have a whole different crowd of people up front than what we had this week.
Exactly, and it's a long flight out there, and you're going to have to go out there by yourself. But I can't go. I'm too old to travel with you. You'll have to look out for yourself.
Okay.